Coral Gabfest, meeting at 20 hours, 0 minutes will commence at that time here in just a moment. W8KZT listening. CQ, CQ, CQ. Welcome to the Cape Coral Gabfest. My name is Rick, and my call is W8KZT. I'll be your host this evening for the fourth Thursday of the month for the Cape Coral Gabfest. We meet here on 146.490 Simplex at 8 p.m., 20 hours, 0 minutes local time every Thursday, and we welcome any and all hams to join us. After check-ins, we'll go through 2 rounds of comments, so please remember to stick around for the second round. As always, you may discuss anything you like, but tonight our topics are going to be a few, a little more than normal, but we'll throw a few out here, and what we don't discuss this week, we'll pass on for next week. The first one is who's going to be doing the POTA this next outing, and also who is involved with Aries. Has anybody done any of the de-expeditions? Also, what have you had for dinner tonight? That's going to govern on how you respond to a lot of things tonight. And also, what was your week in radio? So right now, I will take all the check-ins, and if you would, please do them at writing speed because I'm not as fast as Charles and John. This is W8KZT, and I'm listening for the first callers.
KO4 EFS, Ian in North Fort Myers.
Okay, I got Tim and Ian, but I didn't get your call, Ian, but I think you're...
Kilo Oscar 4.
So it's KE4, is that correct? I'm sorry. Okay, roger that. Got Tim, W6WWW, and also for Ian, KO4 EFS. The next caller, please.
Kilo 4, Romeo Alpha Bravo, Rick.
Okay, Rick, Kilo 4, Romeo Oscar Bravo, and the next callers, please.
K4RAB.
Roger that, go ahead.
Here is Alpha 4, Juliet Sierra.
Okay, thanks, John.
KI4 GED.
Charles, thanks for checking in, and next, please. Nothing heard. Does anybody else hear anything I did not? Okay, we'll get off to a quick start here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 check-ins. We got Whiskey 6, Whiskey for Tim. KO4 EFS is Ian. K4 RAB Rick. AA4 JS for John. And KI4 GED for Charles. So good evening to everyone, and hope everybody's doing great. I've had a rather eventful day. My wife had surgery on her elbow today, so she's out resting and taking some pain meds at the time. So hopefully she's going to be feeling a little better. Next thing I was going to say, I had a pretty decent day. I think yesterday it was, talking to a few people. I had one down in Carousel, and one guy in Rome, Italy. I was trying to remember which the other one was here. If I could just remember. Let's see. So, and the other guy was from the Isle of Trinidad. So that's what I had as far as my week in radio. I haven't done much other than that. And also had a great chili dinner this evening. And it was something my wife had previously made, and I just heated that up and made spaghetti, and we were good to go. So let's turn it over to Tim, give you on round one, and see what you got going there, Tim. W6, WWW.
So for dinner, we have chicken Alfredo. Hard to bear. So highlight of the weekend was a nice day at the swap shop. And got some crab meat with John and Natalie and good way to get your DX actually that's the card 2 days ago. Now anyways, we're almost there. So that'll be fun. That'll anyways, yes, we're looking forward to the contest this weekend, although not a ton of time to really plan on this is the beautiful weekend.
Well, great, Tim. Sounds like you've been doing pretty good there. And also, I was going to mention that contest because all of those guys that I talked to were asking me if I was going to be involved with the contest and would be on. But I didn't give them any confirmation that I would either because I don't think I'll be able to because of my wife. But hopefully a lot of you guys will be able to do that. Okay, well, I'll turn it over to Ian, KO4 EFS. What's going on there, Ian?
KO4 EFS, good evening. It's good to hear everybody. Let me turn that off so there's no echo. We are going out over YouTube worldwide right now, and I'm trying to get all the stations on there. Propagation's not too good tonight, but I did right before we went on the net tonight. There was an opening between here and Tampa, but that's kind of gone away now. So just kind of watching that. That's also on the YouTube. You can see the propagation map and everything. All right, other than that, I'm trying to think. Dinner, I haven't got there yet. I just got home from work. POTA, I'd love to, but I mostly just activate when I'm on vacation. I'm just too busy here. And so that's, I will do some hunting from my shack here if I get a chance over the weekend, but I just got a lot going on right now. I just wanted to mention one quick thing. I walked into Home Depot and the smart light bulbs are down to $5 a piece. I went ahead and bought some of them and put them through my house, and now when I'm not home, the lights go on and off and different things. And I'm having a good time with that. I also just sent me this one to review. I got 3 different companies that send me stuff for review. And now I'm on with Baofeng, and they sent me one to review. So that's going to be cool. I'm going to pull it out of the box here while I'm waiting for the next round, and I'll let you know what it looks like. It's pretty cool. It's the new UV5R that actually has the big screen and all, and it's got the high wattage. I can't wait to take it out of the box. I'm going to do it next. KO4 EFS.
Well, super. Well, you're going to have to give us a real big update on that Baofeng for sure. And all the also those $5 smart bulbs, I've not heard anything about those. Maybe next round or something, Ian, you may want to improvise a little bit on that and tell us a little bit more about what those really are and what they do. So that would be great. So next up on the round here will be Rick, K4RAB. Let's hear what you got, Rick.
Okay. Hearing about those smart light bulbs, I have to ask a question. What's the price differential between a smart bulb and a dim bulb? But I guess we'll have to figure that one out. But yeah, I haven't been. I did the contest last week? I believe it was. They did the CW section. One of the stations, I got a station in Kenya. We got trying to think. I got 2 or 3 Cubans. Got the Cayman Islands, of course, the ABC Islands, and I think Turks and Caicos. So I got some rather unusual stuff. So I like to work those. So anyway, I got CW. So, but nothing to keep me from coming on the voice section too. What did I eat tonight for dinner? Oh, something out of the microwave. Stick it in there, nuke it for whatever it specifies, 4.5 minutes. I think it was some kind of barbecue stuff. It was all right, but nothing fancy, and I had a salad with it. But that's about it there for me with that. But I'm sitting here. I'm trying to get my Go box ready to go to the event over at Buckingham and just stuff like that. So anyway, that's all I've got. Enough of my babbling on, and we'll pick it up again on the next round. This is K4RAB.
Well, great there, Rick. Well, I guess you could probably call what you had for dinner tonight mystery meat because you weren't too sure about what you had there. But also, I wanted to make sure I had my code down right at the first of the net here. I was just doing a few CQ calls there, and just want to make sure it was readable on your part, because I think you're probably the biggest expert, so I would appreciate any info on that. But thanks so much. And next on the list is John, AA4JS. Good evening, John.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good to hear you all tonight. And I know one of them was what I ate, and I built some fresh chili today. I enjoy the chili I build, but since I've not been as active and I've been dealing with all this other stuff, the big things, big pans of them that I used to always make, I'm just half that would go to waste these days. But I made me a little group today, and it was just awfully good. Excuse me. As far as... Okay, I can speak now. I've been doing quite a bit of ham radio, getting through doing a lot of POTA, obviously from home, but I think I've done a total of 5 different bands today in different parts of the day. I did have one a doctor thing I had to go into, but yes, of course, still doing a lot of that and in a lot of medicine and taking lots of stuff and just trying to get through all this. I feel pretty good. So far, it's not bothering me a whole lot. In fact, I feel like I'm walking actually a little better. I don't use the cane much inside the house. If I give outside, I take it with me. But and it was nice to go out Saturday to the thing up, the little thing that the club does. Got out and heard some of the discussion and things that were presented. And then, of course, as Tim mentioned, John and he and I went out afterwards for an awfully good lunch, and that was a lot of fun. Anyway, I've talked enough for this time, so back from you, from AA4JS.
Well, super, John. Well, I'll tell you what, you sound like terrific, and you're on top of your game again, and we're sure grateful for that. And I think all of our prayers probably worked a whole lot for that, and also putting the touch of the hands on those people that worked on you at the hospital and in rehab. So thank goodness you're back, and just loving every minute to have you here. So it's great to hear you. Okay, next up on the list is KI4GED. How's it going, Charles?
Well, good evening, Rick and everyone on the net. Thanks for taking the net, and we need a volunteer for next week. See who's going to do the Cape Coral Gabfest next week. Well, I haven't, no POTA, no Aries, no DX expeditions. Well, no dinner tonight. I picked out at the Golden Corral today with a fellow worker. We used to work together. We're retired and haven't done any radio, so I guess since last Thursday night. Good to hear John's feeling better for sure. I'm glad to hear you're sounding good tonight, John. Sorry I missed the swap shop last Saturday. Went out running around with the wife on that. We've gone the Saturday before, I think, to Sebring Hempfest, which was a small one, 6 tailgaters, I think it was, all there. So that's it for this round, so I'll send it back to you, Rick. W8KZT, this is KI4GED, and thanks for doing the net tonight.
Well, thanks, Charles. It's my pleasure, and it's good to hear from you, and good hearing that you're on here. So that comes to the end of our first round, and I'm just going to pause here for a moment and ask if we have any further check-ins for the Cape Coral Gabfest.
November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel.
Any more? Okay, we have an addition here. It's John N6JDH. Good evening, John. If you didn't hear, we're doing a few extra items here as far as what the discussions would be on. And one thing is, what's your week been in radio? What are you doing for POTA, this upcoming POTA session? And are you involved with the Aries group? And also, have you ever done a de-expedition? And the last thing was, what did you have for dinner tonight and made you so energetic to get on the radio this evening?
Well, thank you, Net Control. I would have been on earlier, but I've been pulling my hair out. I went out to Babcock today to do a POTA activation, and I've done nothing different, and I come home and I download my log, and POTA on the POTA.app, when I upload my log, it says I have 2 errors in it, and I cannot find the errors. So I actually just finished emailing them a support email and attached a copy of my ADIF file. But I've done nothing different, and everything's accurate, and it loaded up into all my other databases. But anyway, yes, I'm involved with Aries. I've done a lot of POTA this week. I do quite a bit on the islands, on Lake Acosta and such. Honestly, I don't remember what I ate today. I've never done a DX expedition. I did have a hunter get me today that we all know. I was out of Babcock, and off in the distance on, I believe it was 10 meters, I hear Alpha Alpha Ford Juliet Sierra calling me, and it was John. And he actually made my log, but I can't get my log to upload. Anyway, back to net.
Well, super, John. Sounds like you've been pretty busy with radio, and that is absolutely great. That's what we're here for. So maybe all the gentlemen listening, between maybe Ian or John, would have some sort of suggestion what John might be able to do. Well, nothing heard. Well, hopefully you'll be able to get that squared away. All right, well, we'll turn it over to round two, and back for the first one on the list would be Tim, W6, WWW. Back to you, Tim. Well, super. I'll tell you, you do a great job with all of your radio stuff, Tim, and we certainly appreciate hearing all about that. And the guys that I got there in Carso, PJ/K5LD, one of the gentlemen I was talking to was from actually here in Central Florida. So I talked to him for several minutes and got some information on where he was there at Signal Point, and it was pretty interesting. So, yeah, that was pretty neat. And a lot of the guys that we talked to this past day, the other day, they were doing POTA activations also. And these other three, like I mentioned earlier, I got one on 10 meters, 15, and 20 meters. The 15 meters was the guy from Carso, and this guy from the Isle of Trinidad was on 10 meters. And when I went to 10 meters at that time, he was the only blip on my waterfall, and I was able to get him with absolutely no problem because hardly anybody was on there. And then the guy on 10 meters was in Rome, Italy, and it happened to have been a guy, Paul, that I had spoken to back in 2021, and that was March of 21. That's when I was still in Ohio. And he brought it to my attention, and also I looked it up for sure. That was pretty cool. But all right, well, Tim, thanks so much. What a great job, and also you're correct. A job really helps fund all your radio fun. So good luck to you there, buddy, and hope everything works out terrific. All right, well, we're back to Ian, KO4EFS. What do you got, Ian?
Sorry, I have to mute my speakers there. Yeah, I just unboxed my Baofeng UV5RM. That's UV5 Romeo mic, and it's the one that has the GPS in it and all that. It looks like the UV5R, except they've moved the screen up to the top, and it's got the large color screen, just like my UV25. Really stepped up. It's got the Quancheng type volume knob on it. It's got a long, thin, like signal stick type antenna that comes with it. I mean, literally, Baofeng has taken the best of all the different radios and put it together in one radio. And they're selling it for $22. And it comes with everything, a big battery, and I just can't believe it. I'm going to test it for about a week and do a video on it, but it's definitely like the little brother to the UV25. On Amazon with 100% return guarantee, no problem. And there's 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks at the most, you know. So anyway, just having a really good time with this. They keep sending me all this equipment, and I love it, man. You can't never have enough radios. I don't know who I'm going to talk to on them all, but you can't never have enough radios. One other, to answer another question from earlier, Aries. I'd love to join Aries, but I was on 3 or 4 years ago when there was some issues, and went and took all of my FEMA classes, all of them, including the 2 optional ones for PIO and all that, because I wanted to do PIO. And then I took the ARRL EOC 1 and 16, the 2 classes that they offer, and I took every single thing, even the Skywarn. I took everything for level 3, and they never would sign off my book. After a year, they never would sign off my book, so I gave up and walked away. I hear it's gotten better, so maybe someday down the road I'll give it another try. KO4EFS.
Well, super, Ian. Well, we hope so. We hope they get you squared away, because I think they need everybody they can possibly get aboard. So, yeah, on this UV5RM, this is going to be very interesting to hear from you for maybe by next weekend, that you've come across a lot of good issues and maybe hopefully no negativity. And you say it was $25. That's one heck of a deal for radio. Now is that a tri-band, or is that just a dual band? Just before we jump over to Rick there.
Yeah, I can actually do you better than that. It's tri-band transmit, 6-band receive, including AM airband. And it has a full 10-watt transmit. I haven't tested it yet, but the last 3 Baofengs I've tested were right on the money, within the ham band. So, but I'm doing a video on it, so we'll know for sure. They send me these, but my reviews are honest and straight up. I don't care if they send me the radio or not. I do an honest review. That's kind of how it works. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to testing it. The UV25 has been beyond my dreams. My favorite radio ever. All right, there you go. KO4EFS.
Okay, Ian. Well, that sounds great. Well, we'll be looking forward to hearing what everything turns out. And that's a great idea that you're getting at. And you know what? They really want your honesty. I mean, they're not looking for the raha, this everything is great. They want to know if there's anything that is, off keel and not right down the middle like they anticipate or expect it to be. So, don't be light on them. Be brutally honest if it's necessary. So thanks so much, Ian, and we'll be waiting to hear from that next week. So, Rick, we're back to you. K4RAB.
Yeah, it's K4RAB. If you aren't brutally honest with the reviews, there's no point in doing it. I mean, there's this rig here. I mean, there's some things that I like the radio, but it does some things not quite right. So it's an Icom rig. So anyway, yeah, the nearest thing I got to a DXpedition is when I lived in Marietta. We had a guy up there, K4UEE. It's Bob Alphen. Unfortunately, he is a silent key now, but he used to go on the expeditions, and he frequently did programs up there on all of his DXpeditions. That was one of the great things about being a member of that club, is you got to see his programs from his DXpeditions, and that's quite an undertaking. You got to come up with some money to do a DXpedition because of all of the. It's quite a logistical challenge, and you can easily blow $1 million on one. So they're quite a thing. I mean, it may show up as a splash on the magazines, but let me tell you, there's a lot more to it than you could ever imagine. So you plan to go to some remote place for 2 weeks or something of that nature, then that is, like I said, it's a logistical nightmare. So anyway, so at least I got that little piece of knowledge from being in the same club with Bob. He's quite a fella, so I'm sorry that he's a silent key. Anyway, now I forgot what else I wanted to talk about. Interesting about Ian's new Barfung. I think should be interesting to see how that performs. I hope it. Maybe they'll come out with one that does 6. And, well, I imagine it receives on 6 and does 2 and 440. I've got one here that does 2 meters, 220, and 440. So it's pretty amazing what they could do and how little they could charge for them. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to them. This is K4REB.
Well, great. Well, maybe by next week, Rick, maybe you can give a little bit of a dissertation about one of your radios that you've done, like what Ian's going to be doing, and making an evaluation, and let us know what you thought of it, just like you were saying on that one. So yeah, that might be a great idea for next week. So we'd appreciate that. All right, well, super. Thanks so much. And if you think of what else you had in mind, jump right in here at the end there. I appreciate it. So AA4JS, John, you're up.
Okay, well, one thing I certainly enjoy doing is those guys that are working these odd places, and over the years I've worked a lot of them, and I'm trying to think where the one I worked today was. It was kind of an odd one. It was a guy with an odd call sign and then / American call sign. But and I can't even think where it was now today that I worked him. But I enjoy doing that a lot. I can't imagine that I would be the kind of guy that would be out traveling to other countries and dragging a whole bunch of stuff and operating for a week or 2 weeks doing that. That said, I sure enjoy going out to some of these POTA parks and doing that stuff. I've sure enjoyed. I think I've done 61 different parks so far, and I sure enjoy that. And I can't tell you. And I'll tell you, 10 years ago, somebody had told me that, I would have probably said, I'll never do that. That's, but I have just started enjoying that so much. And, that's one thing in the years I've been a ham. There have been things that I used to like that I just don't do much anymore. And there's stuff that I used to thought, well, I'll never do that, and that I've learned and enjoy. And that's the thing about this thing. There's so many different things that you can do, if you don't have fun of this, try that. And there's just so much. Anyway, like I say, right now I've been chasing POTAs. I haven't been out doing any, but still having a lot of fun. That's where I'm at. So with that, I'll pass it back to you from AA4JS.
Roger that, John. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, well, it's good to hear everything you're doing, and just keep up the great work with POTA and all that, and I really enjoy it. I think maybe here in a few weeks or something, I'm going to get with you and have you come over here and look what I've got that I'm going to use for POTA, and have you give me some expert advice as to what should be changed or what I should add to it. So I'd appreciate if you had the opportunity by then and to buzz on over. So thanks a lot, John, and we'll turn it over to Charles, KI4GED. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, good evening again, everyone on the net, and I don't have much else to add. It's a good net. A lot of information is being passed tonight, so that's good for sure, and a lot of subjects, so that's a good idea also there. So that's all I got to add tonight, so I'll say 7-3. Everybody have a safe week, and look forward to hearing everybody again next week on the Cape Coral Gabfest. So I'll turn it back to you, Rick. W8KZT, this is KI4GED.
Okay, Charles. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for dropping in and hang around and see what else is going on maybe afterwards. So we'll turn it over to John, N6JDH. Go ahead, John.
Well, thank you, Net Control. Today on POTA, I tried my main antenna, which is an SS17 by Chameleon with one of their pass-throughs. But I started off with working one of their antennas that's called a tactical delta loop. It involves two SS17s and a coil and a wire between them that creates this big arch. But anyway, it's off the side. The signal is off the side of it, so I played around with that, and I was able to hit. I got my North Dakota, which was nice. And I'm only lacking Alaska, but I got a few that I have never gotten. I've got the Azores, which is off the coast of Spain. I got Northern Ireland, and I got most of South America with it today. And I also got the Cayman Islands and Panama. So I'm pretty pleased with that new antenna, but I still like the simplicity of just the SS17. Anyway, back to Net.
Well, great. Sounds like everything's working out pretty good. If you're doing that type of longevity on the contacts, that sounds pretty good to me. Sounds like you may have it covered pretty well. Now, one thing I'm going to ask everybody else real quick, like John and Tim and yourself that do the POTA, do you guys use tuners, or do you all have rig experts or something to make it resonant to your frequencies?
Well, I use a rig expert stick because I'm using the 7100 and it doesn't have a tuner in it. So I pretty much have memorized, thanks to AA4JS, I've pretty much memorized where my mask is on the SS17 and how many radials I have out. And it basically takes about 2 minutes. But yes, I do use the rig expert stick, and I do have the 650 zoom, but I use the smaller one. Back to Net.
Well, cool. How about you, John, AA4JS?
I do not use any kind of a tuner. When you use a tuner, it's only fooling the radio. So, and I use pretty much the same antenna every time. So I've used it enough that I pretty much know exactly how to, I can pretty much look at it and get it the right length to be tunable. So I don't use anything to tune it. I just get it as low, and generally 1.2, 1.3, I can get it where it needs to be, and just get on there and talk. It seems to me the less work is the better. So that's my take take on it. Back to you from AA4JS.
Roger that. Now, does I should ask maybe Tim first before I go into this. But my next question would be, do all of your radios have auto tuners that are already built in that you just don't use? So, Tim, what about you? W6, WWW. Well, super. Very good information there. And hopefully everybody caught that, and that's a good thing to know. Because like what I'm doing right now on my radio, I bought a tuner for this frequency also, and it's putting out exactly 50 watts that I've got it tuned to, and I've got a flat SWR, and everybody seems to think I'm doing all right. So hopefully this is doing what I'm expecting it to do. And hopefully I don't want to do anything that would damage the radio for sure. And I'm certain they wouldn't make anything like this that would damage the radio if it wasn't correct. So, but that's the way it is. But okay, well I'll tell you what, that's very, very much information there for everyone, and I hope everybody could digest some of that. So, also, Ian, I was going to ask you. I had asked before about the $5 smart bulbs. Hopefully you're still in there. Can you give us a little information on those? W8KZT with the Cape Coral Gabfest.
I'm sorry, what did you need more information on?
Those $5 smart bulbs, what do they do?
must be having some radio trouble. I can't understand what you're saying for some reason. It's weird.
Okay, well, no problem. We'll turn it back over to, let's see. Well, actually, we've gone through 2 rounds already. So next thing up on the board would be is, do we have any late check-ins? And if we do, if you would bring your call and name in at writing speed there. This is W8KZT for the Cape Coral Gabfest. Nothing heard on this end. Has anyone else heard anything that I have not? Okay, well, I think that brings us to a close for the Cape Coral Gabfest. Unless anyone else has anything further to add to this night's edition of Cape Coral Gabfest, please come now. Okay, well, thanks for everybody coming in this evening. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be the net controller for the Cape Coral Gabfest for the first time, and appreciate all the contributions that were given this evening and all of the great information that was had by all. So everybody have a great evening. Thank you very much again, and I'm going to wish all of you 73s, and I hope you all have a great weekend. This is W8KZT signing off from Cape Coral Gabfest, and good evening to all.
Whiskey 6, Whiskey, AA4JS. This is November 6th, Juliet Delta Hotel.